so that's great. We have a lot of people. Actually, I saw about 65 people were supposed to come here. I don't think we have 65, but let's not waste time. Other people will coming later. I don't want to waste time. So guys, thank you so much for finding some time, especially in the evening time. I know majority of you guys are from India, looks like. So it's evening. Instead of, watching TV or spending time with your family, you decided to come here. So that shows some commitment and some passion of quality assurance professionals. This is always great to see. So again, I appreciate you coming in. What's the reason for this, discussion? The reason being is that every day we having various of different conversations with various of different people around the world, clients around the world, professionals around the world, potential candidates, employees around the world, and obviously on different topics. But automation is one of the hottest topic. I'm receiving so many emails from various of different people around the world asking for the advices, asking, what do you think, Ruslan? Should we take this path or that path in terms of the automation, learning, in terms of the technology stack, in terms of the tools, in terms of scriptless versus traditional coding? Lots of questions. And, from time to time, I'm replying to most of the people when my time permits. But, I wanted to kind of have this session and record this session so I can share with anybody who needs help or anybody needs some kind of advice or directions or suggestions on what to do with the career. Guys, can you mute yourself, whoever is not speaking, for the disturbance, to avoid the disturbance? Hello? Okay, great. So let's start. We're not gonna go around. I know some of you. How do I mute people?
I can mute.
Siddhant, can you mute? Siddharth Malik, can you mute?
I have muted it.
Okay, wonderful. All right, great. Didn't work? Is it a bug in Zoom or what is this?
Siddharth Malik, please.
All right, great. So sorry, I just I'm not able to speak when somebody is talking at the same time. I need to train myself to do that, multi-talking tasking, I would call that. Okay, so the first question, and again, some of you I already know, some of you we exchanged some of the messages on LinkedIn and some of the posts. I really appreciate you guys following us, following our articles, our stories, providing your feedback and comments. Some of you regularly providing that, and it's always great to see that. I really appreciate. Lately, I was extremely busy because I was relocating from New York to Florida, with the family, with everything. So I was extremely busy with a lot of things, work related, as well as the relocation related. So I didn't spend much time on LinkedIn as I would like to. And that's the reason I, didn't reply to some of your questions. So let's catch up. Let's sort of get back to the regular mode. So the first question is simply, people asking, so Ruslan, what is going on the market right now? What is hot? What we should study? What we should go for in terms of the automation? Now, obviously, it's not a secret. Automation is in demand right now. Every organization, every company you're talking to, the job profiles, they want somebody as that capacity, somebody who possesses knowledge of the object-oriented programming, of the scripting skills, and not necessarily they said, we want this technology or that technology. They want somebody who savvy in object-oriented programming, who can pick up and be able to code. Okay, that's the demand out there. This is what we see across the board. Now, the interesting thing is you have this demand, you have this ask, but in reality, when we seeing and talking to managers, when we're talking to the team members, all of this, it's not implemented. There is no time for the automation. There's always a need. There is always a demand. There is always a requirements. When it comes to actually doing it, no time. No time. Why? Because everybody working on a very aggressive schedules. Time to market is crucial nowadays. Everybody trying to release software very quickly, very fast. And there is no time for the automation. Also, in most of the cases, there is not enough ratio developers versus testers on the projects in the Scrum teams to support automation, right? And there is a lack of budgets in practicality to support automation work streams in the organizations, because it's cost money, right? It's a spend. So we see the situation where organizations putting advertisements, oh, we need automation, even for the manual resources, we need automation skills is required, Selenium Java is required, Python is required, JavaScript is required, all of this flashy, job requirements and job posts we see. When it comes to the actual hiring process or even the interviewing process, well, do you really need automation? No, we're gonna start this soon. We're planning on starting this soon. We want to start this soon, right? So all of this is basically, just a discussion and talk and conversation. So the critical thing and the critical problem in the organizations which we see is, just apologize, I have to turn on my phone so it will not disturb, because it's gonna ring every second. 1 second, please.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I just left my phone on charger and it's gonna ring every second. Usually this is how it rings. So my basically comment or feedback on this is, now companies want automation. Company demands skillful resources in the automation, but they don't have time to do and implement automation. They don't allow even the manual guys, the manual resources who are part of the agile teams, or if you're not practicing agile Scrum, it's a typical traditional waterfall, no time to implement automation. What is happening, and this is like in 83%, we did the study, 83% of the organizations in the same pattern. They want automation, but they never have time for the automation, or they don't have the budget for the automation, or they have skillful resources for the automation, which they hire, but still, because they're moving too quick, too fast, they cannot implement the proper automation in the organizations. So I pose this, like an open forum right now, who would like to talk and give the feedback. So do you guys see this, or this is only me, with my eyes seeing these situations, or similar situation is happening in your organizations right now? I just trying to understand this from all of you who are part of the different organizations right now. Who wants to talk or answer this question? Don't be shy, you're not going to get fired for this, I hope. If you will say, well, we wanted to start automation, but we're not really progressing on that yet, or automation is our next year target and goals and objectives. Anybody?
Anybody would like to answer?
And that's fine. If you don't want to answer, it's not, it just, I posted the, just to check the temperature out there, what is happening in your organizations. Yes.
Ruslan, can I just add a few of my experience? This is Sudarshan.
Sure, please.
Yeah. So first of all, Ruslan, thank you so much for sharing your experience and insights. And my experience is more or less in line with what you explained. Because since I have seen the transformation of the testing teams from waterfall to agile, so I think whatever that you mentioned about no time for doing the testing, but every organization wants to do the test, and the number of ratio of developers and testers is not proportionate, and lack of budget. I think I definitely agree with you. During the waterfall model, when we used to do the development, so this used to be the scenario, right? So always testing or QA used to be considered as a bottleneck for the release, right? It used to come in the end, and so whatever time that used to be available for before the release, we used to test and then release it. So even though as a testing team we were not very happy with the amount of testing that we used to do, and knowing the known bugs, the quality of the product, and definitely that was a scenario. I think over the period of time, I think organizations have started realizing what is the value of the testing that needs to be done very early in the cycle. I think that is where you talked about the agile model, and there is a realization that value add from the testing team, but still our organizations are figuring out how we can enable the testing very early in the cycle, right? Considering the agile model, right? Bringing in the testing teams very early during the requirement phase, and being part of the brainstorming with the customers, and then giving kind of empowerment to the testing team. I think that needs to be done. I think we still have a long way to go. So that's my experience that I wanted to share, Ruslan.
Excellent, excellent, very good, and thank you so much for your feedback. That's why I wanted to see, because I see some of the representations from the big organizations, from the smaller size companies, some of them from the startups. I see some people because I recognize some of you guys who are following me on LinkedIn. So this is good. This is very good point. Now, the interesting thing is, once again, and this is a dilemma, and this is my question when I talk to directors level of QA, as well as quality officers, QA managers, even, IT, CTO, CIOs. Basically, what's happening out there is the following. Somebody within their organization, within the management, they think that the automation will resolve all the quality issues, all the quality problems. It will save them money. It will improve quality. It will decrease defect leakage. All of this great stuff, which really is supposed to be happening if you will implement the automation the right way, right, is there. But the interesting thing is, everybody now on the market looking for someone who would do everything, right? So I'm receiving so many calls from the clients, potential clients, existing clients, and say, Ruslan, we want somebody who fully understands, obviously, functional testing, who can build detail level test cases, come up with a test strategy, test methodology, best practices, right? Be very savvy in terms of the methodology and quality assurance processes. But at the same time, they said, we want somebody to convert those manual test cases into automation scripts. And we want the same guys. Now, this is where my problem is, right? If you guys are excellent in the automation, I'm talking about really strong and really good, understanding coding, advanced level, in most cases, and this is based on my feedbacks through talking to hundreds and hundreds of people around the world who are considered to be ASDATs or automation engineers, true automation engineers. If you are extremely good in this, for the most part, you're moving to development. Okay, that's a given. If you know how to code very well, you will be building products out there. That's more fun in reality. Now, some people from the development side, I see this also, migrating towards testing, specifically to build scripts. Now, not many, but some enjoying building scripts. Now, at the same time, many forcing developers to do the scripting, automation, unit testing, scripting job. And that's where developers hate to do. They don't like this at all. They want to code, they don't want to test, right? Otherwise, they would end up or building their career as a testers, right? So what we see on the market where people don't really truly understand, you cannot find a person who would do both the right way and the proper way. It's not possible. I mean, there are exceptions in the world. We can, calculate this on hands. There are some people who can do that. But in reality, if you take a sampling, it's not possible. It's either you do the proper way, functional manual testing, know how to build test cases, understand fully requirements, establish traceability to the requirements to cover all the gaps, all the angles, all the permutations, combinations, negative scenarios, positive scenarios, and you do this very well and you find the defects. Or you don't want to do this. You want to take the manual test case and automate this test case, and that's it. You don't even want to understand the product functionalities. You just like building scripts and that's it. And that's what we have. Another category, another set of, community who in most cases, they just do building and writing the code. And that's where, again, my problem is, if you truly a QA professional, the first thing you need to understand the application. You need to understand what you're testing. You cannot just start automating things, looking at the manual test case with acceptance criteria, expected results, steps, and just simply automate it and pass this automation script to somebody who will execute it, or you will run it at the end of the day. You're still responsible for the quality of the product. You got to feel the product. You got to understand the product. And that's the most important thing. And that's what I guess senior management not fully understanding, because what I see right now, and it's a very bad situation, extremely bad. I'm all against this situation. I see big companies letting go manual testers. And again, somebody will blame me for calling this manual testers. It's just, I like to, I like this terminology. Manual testers is person who is not involved in automation. That's my definition. Some people will complain, oh, there's no such a thing as manual testing, right? Let's not debate here this topic. It's a big problem I see out there where, expectation is that you have to do everything and do it the proper way, right? Or companies removing subject matter experts, people who understand fully functionality behind the application, and they substituting them into the automation engineers who has no clue about the project. About the product at all, no knowledge whatsoever. And what you see at the end as a result, as the outcomes, you would not believe. Number one, you see the quality degrades astronomically. And the question is, how come? We have the regression testing coverage. We automated all the test cases. But the reason being, it's a mechanics. You just automating the product without feeling and understanding and truly assessing the product, right? You don't feel that. You don't understand the new features and functionalities. You don't understand the usability behind those features and functionalities. You don't have that, right? And that's why we have missing defects. So all the management say, well, we did the substitution. We have this great scripts created, built, but at the end of the day, the defect leakage is 20%, 25%, 13%. I mean, how can this be? And the answer to this is you can't get rid of subject matter experts. You can't get product testers, like people who are fully understanding the business, the subject matter expertise behind your application. The domain expertise is crucial, is key. You cannot get rid of those people. And I see so many mistakes across the board where the whole departments were removed and substituted by SDATs, truly SDATs. Yes, they can code, they can build scripts. At the end of the day, what is the value add? No value add. You're missing defects, the quality degrades. Oh, yeah, you're completing execution, automation kicks in, you get the results quicker and faster. But if the results have defects, which you don't know about, if you're delivering your report with defects which you're not aware of because your automation scripts didn't pick up those defects during the execution, how good it is, how good it is. So what I see on the market, and again, it's across the board, and it's very sad to see because the management, it comes from the management. Management don't realize, to them is, automation. Let's do automation. Let's just, automate everything and that's it. I want to show my management how good we are. This is the percentage coverage. This is the code coverage. This is the manual testing coverage. But this is not how you measure quality for the product. You got to measure product quality, right? How do you do that, right? How do you do this? Automation is enabled for us to run quicker and faster and achieve, better turnaround time. That's about it. Automation should assure quality as well, but it's not reliable source just to say, I have all the scripts, I can run and I can deliver product within 2-week sprints, no issues, no problems. That's a mistake. And that's, it's a crazy situation, what is happening out there. Now, at the end of the day, so much investments into the expensive automation teams, into the SDATs, into the architects, and everybody. But at the end of the day, we have the quality issues on the application side where the managers say, well, we invested so much money. The other managing directors asking, why there are complaints in production? Why we see issues? Why we see problems? What's the problem? Nobody understands. But the explanation to this is, again, you need to fill the product. There is always need for the manual testing, verification, validation, assessments, manually, the proper implementation of the test case coverage, of building the manual test cases first. That's critical. That's a given. This is what automation engineers are missing, right? So recommendation is for everybody out there, managers, people, it's a segregation of duties. If you want to really achieve a success, you got to have 2 individuals, let's say in the Scrum team. Got to have somebody who would build the manual test cases, fully understand the scripts, the functionality behind this. And then you have to have the strong person who would just the script, but also needs to understand the product. Without it, it's not going to work and get you the success, right? So for all of you who are currently right now automation engineers, guys, you got to understand the product. You got to understand the test cases. It's not like a monkey work, input in, output out, meaning like, okay, I just look at the steps, I automate it, here we go. Guys, your job is to assure the product will be successful out there, right? We got a QA, and I have this tagline always, we make products successful, right? We not find defects, right? We make products successful because we're releasing something where we want clients to use, utilize, enjoy, and say, yes, I really like this. It's really bringing me value. Or no, I don't like this product. I'm going to go to my competitors and use that platform because it's much better. This platform is not good for me, right? That's the idea. That's what I wanted to touch a little bit today so you would understand, right? So the message to your organizations, back to your management teams, right? Automation is not auto magic, right? Don't expect miracles from the automation, okay? Automation will help you to run things quicker, faster, to help you, instead of manually executing this, decrease and improve velocity of completing regression testing cycles, but you cannot fully rely on it. It's never the case. You always need to have your eyes, real hands on the product in order to bless this product to go live as a sprint, as a release, as a minor release, as a major release, and etc. So that's what is extremely, extremely important. So if you see the job description, the job description says we want everything, automation in the manual, managers there in that organization missing something, don't understand something. That's not the organization for you to be in, because it's gonna you'll be in trouble basically, because you're not gonna be successful there. Okay, it just simply does not work. Okay, that's what we see. That's what I experienced for the last 5 years. Since again that sort of battling of changing and substituting manual resources on the automation engineers and SDATs, and running just agiles with SDATs. I don't want to call the company names, but one company 60 testers were there supporting this for a number of years. New CIO came in, removed the entire team because nobody had knowledge of automation. Hire as that's disaster in production, client lost, revenue lost. You would not understand. Now they're going backwards. They begging the old people who used to work there. They giving them double salaries to return back and save the reputation and save the products and everything, right? And I have so many different examples at such what we see and what I see, right? But at the same time, I'm not saying automation is not good. Automation is extremely good, it's extremely beneficial, but it's got to be implemented the right way, the proper way. And organizations needs to be mature to work with the automation. They need to be mature. They need to be at that level, and they need to be ready to be successful if you want to invest into automation and you want to implement automation across the board throughout the CI/CD pipeline, starting from initial stages of designing the application and then ending this validation, verification of deployments in production as the health check, all of this software development lifecycle coverage throughout the automation. But many organizations just not ready. Hiring just one person, thinking, oh, he is good or she is good, it will not work. It will not resolve all these problems. You got to have the automation strategy in place. That's the key. So any questions or any comments on this before we move to other topics, because we have a lot of topics to cover as well. But this is something which I wanted to share, which bothering me a lot, which I see this every day, where I see people don't understand what they're asking for. And I'm trying to explain and educate those managers. At the end of the day, they understand and they agreeing to this. And they said, yes, maybe we should have two resources, not just one, because we're never going to find that perfect match, and they start understanding this a little bit more nowadays. But until they get hurt, until they get, on fire, they will never understand, or they will never change that mentality. And that mentality, unfortunately, is going into the many different companies. Now, another question: who can tell me why Google, Microsoft, Amazon, eBay successful in automation, and they all claim, oh, we have this fantastic, automation framework in place. It serves the needs, it serves the purposes. We run, 25,000 test cases very quickly and very fast, so we're fully relying on automation. Who can tell me why they're successful? And it's only a small percentage of those organizations out there, and why majority of the organizations are not successful. Any idea why those big companies, successful companies, are doing good? Who can answer this question?
I think, in my opinion, they think like they're process oriented. Definitely, they are success in automation because they have set some kind of processes, like which things we can automate, which thing we can manual. That's the main reason of their success.
So the process, they are process oriented. There, remember I said company needs to be ready for the automation, right? So then they are ready for the automation. They implemented everything. They put the baseline fundamentally ready for the automation. That's one aspect of it. That you're absolutely correct, and you are right. But there are much more to it for that as well. Any guesses? Any tries? Why do you think they're really successful there? And I'll tell you the secret, because I was trying to figure this out on my own for many years, until I start talking to those people representing those organizations, with the management, with the automation guys, and I resolved this. I solved this problem for myself. How come over there everything is going well, but over here it's never going well? What do you guys think? It's interesting, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I speak?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
I thought some of the company having the manual testers and automation testers as well. Okay, so might be there is a when some issue arise from the automation team, that may they handle and over to the manual team so that they can check at their end, because 100% automation is not possible, and if we'll go with that, so I don't think it is useful.
Correct. So you're saying that there's, again, segregation of duties there. There's automation people. In case there's issues, problems, they talk to the manual guys, and they working closely together, and that's why they're successful. They are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's correct. They have that as well. But the interesting thing is, majority of the automation engineers who are working in those organizations, guess what? They're former developers. They were asked to move into the automation. They were giving, good money, good salaries, to do these types of things. Do you understand? That's and there's also superstars. There are superstars from scratch. You was a QA engineer. You went to training. You start learning. You start practicing. You start, implementing things in your organization. You become good at it. You become at that level and growing level. So they have superstars as well. It's a very powerful companies. They can invest into very good talent. They can pay money. So they paying high numbers, high salaries to those guys to attract those best people who are out there. And the best people, unfortunately, it's only like 5% out there, right? Not a lot. And they target those people. So developers plus really truly superstars, they work there, and like think of it. You have a superstar, let's say soccer, right? Barcelona with Messi, right? I mean, and all the other players, they were, winning, they were doing fantastically. But sometimes Messi might go to another team. He's a superstar and he will not score. I mean, he will get lost there in the team, right? So it's not only a superstar dependency there, right? It's a strategy, as you said, and it's a methodology. It's a coach who will give the direction, the proper vision of the approach, right? So there's multiple different factors, but the interesting factor is they're successful because they have really skillful people who can do automation very well, former developers as well as the superstars. That's the reality, what is out there, because everybody is asking, how come they're successful, we're not successful? No, that's for the most part is the big reason there. Okay.
Yeah. You want to say the coding skills is the major factor while performing the automation.
I agree. Yes, unfortunately, this is right now is the major factor. But guess what? Yeah. The market is changing right now. Markets is changing towards what? Towards scriptless automation. Again, at the same time, again, a lot of people. I never was a fan of coding. If I would love coding, I would end up as a developer. 25 years ago, when I started my career, I said I hate programming. I refused. Actually, I had one offer. I didn't have any offers, but one offer, they wanted me to become a developer. I said, no. And then I couldn't find a job. And then I just took the first job, junior tester, and went there. And since then, I never regretted that I end up in testing. I fall in love from day one, I don't like scripting, it's not my type of tea. And I'm honest with myself and with everybody else, right? But at the same time, I always dreamed that market needs to create a tool which will allow testers create scripts much quicker and faster and easier without coding, because coding takes time. Coding takes a lot of practice, a lot of skills, a lot of technical abilities, right? It's like a development. I mean, it's exactly the same as a development. So, if you're a tester and you're not trained for that, you just train, a little bit, but it's not really your type of tea. You will never be successful in automation, right? So there are right now tools which scriptless automation does not really require any automation, where many people going towards that, many companies adopting those tools. And do you know why? Simple, because hiring Selenium Java, for example, expert might be very expensive versus hiring somebody after college who learned the scriptless automation tool like UiPath, for example, that's getting very popular, and a lot of tractions are there on that tool. So money-wise, investment-wise, there is a thinking right now that scriptless automation, it's a great area to be. Anybody in my team who are manual testers and never done any automation, they can do it, right? But still, majority of the market right now, if you go and you search, and we did that search, 91%, when we go on DICE, on Monster, all these big US-based platforms for the jobs, they all require, for the most part, the most common one is Selenium Java nowadays. And everybody will ask me, what do you think? Why is that? The answer is very simple. It's only because it's open source, right? Open source Selenium, right there. You don't need to buy licenses. It's giving you, anybody can pick this up and start doing things, right? But why Java? I mean, Java continued to be popular nowadays. Now, don't get me wrong. We're getting requests from the clients for C#, for Python with Java, C# with Java, JavaScript, don't get me wrong. We're getting those requests, but they're much lesser requests. They have lesser popularity. Also, in the market, it's very difficult to find those skillful people because, like Python, it's not an easy language, right? Almost impossible to find anybody. In order to find a good automation engineer, I have to give an offer to a developer who is a Python developer. So you answer me, if you would be a developer building the application, would you want to do automation? Probably, if I will offer you some really, really significant money, and the compensation package, maybe you will think about it. But for the most part, people say, no, I don't want to do it. So that's the reason why it's very difficult. It's very hard. So what we see as a situation on the market, is management, companies expecting extremely strong automation professionals to be onboarded, right? But the question is where to get them and how to become that automation professional who is really, really solid, who is really, really good, who would do the same what is done in eBay and Amazon and implement exactly the same so they can have the same expectations, right? It's not easy. It's not simple. And the problem is, anywhere you go, any of the training centers, what can you learn really for 1.5 or 2 months, right? I mean, manual testing, maybe, yes, possible. Database testing, yeah, why not? You can, understand SQL and write the queries, yeah. Performance testing, also probably not exactly much, in such a short period of time. Automation, only basics, basics, and everybody knows basics. Do you understand? Everybody knows basics. So, when we interview our guys, right? When we finding the job, trying to fill the positions, right? We're not asking theoretical questions. When you go on the interview, if I'm interviewing you or my guys are interviewing you guys, we don't care about, what you read out there. It's good, but we need practical experience, practical knowledge, practical solutions, practical addressing risks and problems, right? At the script level, right? So we're asking, questions which you will, let us know, like, for example, how would you do parallel testing in Cucumber, right? How would you achieve that? Or how you would do parallel testing in TestNG, for example, right? How do you set up CI/CD pipeline and what you need to do for that, right? How do you test API with Rest Assured, right? Explain me the process behind this, right? I mean, you cannot memorize this. You need to do this first. You need to complete and have some kind of level of experience. So what is missing out there right now in the automation training education is the experience building scripts based on the framework. You gotta know, you gotta have a framework knowledge, right? It's not just you starting building scripts from nowhere. When you build a house, you first put the foundation. Without the foundation, the house will, fall apart, right? On the next hurricane. And that's the same thing with your education, with the training, with the understanding of the automation. You got to build that first foundation, and understanding and experience. It's extremely, extremely important. Building, so that framework understanding, knowledge of how to build a framework, that's essential, right? That's extremely, extremely important. Some people have no clue. You're asking, so what does the framework looks like, right? They don't know what the framework is. I mean, because they never have any experience with that. So what we have on the market right now, and I'm telling you the truth, bunch of people, majority, who claim that they know automation, but truly they not knowing it very well, unfortunately, and that's probably, I don't want to overestimate or underestimate, but out of 10 interviews, 9 people not qualified, unfortunately, for the automation positions which we need to fill for our customers and clients. You understand? That's what we see. Imagine that out of 10, maybe 1, and it's not super qualified, just a little bit there where we need that person to be. Imagine. So it's a pretty tough situation out there, right? So what needs to take place? What do you guys need to do in order to be marketable, in order for you to be better than your competitors? Because the job market, and right now the interesting situation is on the market, and I always honest with my opinions, as you know. What is going on the market right now, I personally don't like. Maybe you like it, but I don't like, and I'll tell you why. And it's dangerous. I'll explain you why. So we have this COVID thing, right, which really caused a lot of problems. It hurts many companies financially, but at the same time, for many, it's built opportunities, because many companies decided to implement various of different products during the COVID, right? So if you think in 2020, and I had some statistics there, I will tell you the interesting statistics. So in 2020, I read somewhere that IT spending, overall IT spending, declined by 3.2% in 2020. But in 2021, the spending, it's increased by 6.2%. It's huge. So projected spending on IT, it's close to $4 trillion in 2021, close to $4 trillion. That's huge. Now, if you think IT, right, and the testing, for the most part, it's an integral part for anything you do in IT, for any upgrades, implementations, building new software, and etc. So, I cannot estimate that. I didn't see any numbers what the testing industry, the investment is. All I heard also, then the software testing market size exceeds in United States $40 billion in 2019. Imagine $40 billion only in United States. Again, how true the statistics are, and it's from Gartner. I don't know how they kind of calculated it. I mean, we need to rely on those numbers, but that's what I saw. And what I saw also, that the test automation market size is anticipated to rise from, right now it's 12.6 billion, okay? It was in 2019. It's planning to double by 2024. What it means is there will be more automation tools, product implemented, hit the market, and the companies will start buying and leveraging those products. So as you can see, automation will increase, right? What types of automation? API, functional, robotics, scriptless, database verification, mobile, AI, machine learning. We don't know yet, but it's all in combinations of this. But the critical thing, and this is the message which I wanted to send you, it's going to grow. If it's going to grow, it will require demand for people to support that growth, right? So what I'm telling you is there will be more jobs in the automation, okay? I mean, right now there are jobs in the automation. The only thing is majority of people not qualified for those jobs. Why they're not qualified? Not because they're not intelligent. They're intelligent because They never had a proper training, proper teacher, instructor, mentor, and the proper environment to test it and implement it and validate their skills, which they learn. Proper, real experience with coaching, where if you did something incorrectly, somebody will correct you and you will never make this mistake again. That's how you get better. But if you have nobody behind to instruct you, to prove that you're what you do is incorrect, you have to do it differently, or you have to implement this the other way around, that's what you need. That's who you need, right? That's extremely, extremely important. So what I'm trying to explain you, regardless of the technology, regardless of, whether you will learn Java Selenium or Python Selenium or C# Selenium or JavaScript or Nightwatch or any other platforms which is out there, and there's millions of products, not millions, but hundred thousands of automation products out there. You need really to be good at it. Okay, same way as you can be good at your manual testing, because somebody might say, I feel I'm very good at manual testing in terms of understanding the requirements, converting requirements, and building the comprehensive test case coverage for the requirements, testing and identifying defects across the board, based on my negative test scenarios, positive test scenarios, field validation rules, business rules validations, and etc. Right? Somebody, if you're good, you can say you're good. But how can you determine if you're good in automation, right? That's the question. Because some people applying for the jobs where they said, oh, you need 5 years of experience in automation, not 5 years of experience in QA, where you work with somebody on the automation and watch the scripts running. You never created anything. Well, I have 5 years watching somebody else executing the script. That's not experience, right? You got to do things, and not do things for already implemented framework, but you have to be, it's like you should be able to build a house. Now, some people can just maybe put the tiles in the house, put the electricity, put the plumbing, but you should be able to understand everything. It's like that. That's what I consider to be a modern QA professional. The modern QA professional needs to understand multiple different things, okay? They not necessarily need to be experts in all of them, experts like security testing, performance testing. Well, guys, if you're in QA, you need to understand some elements of this. So you got to learn those areas. You cannot be completely isolated and blank about penetration testing or different tools or what is actually happening and how the ethical hacking can simulate, and identify vulnerabilities. You got to understand that concepts. You might not be expert in penetration testing ever, but you need to understand that. It's like I opening the hood of my car. And I know the different parts and what that parts represent and what is it for. That's what you need to understand. You need to have that knowledge. You need to have that base. Okay. So we have 10 minutes left. I just want to open this for forums, for questions, for discussions. Ask me any types of questions which you guys have. We're going to have the series of those meetings and discussions in the future, because there is tons of topics which I wanted to cover. This is just less than 1% of things which I wanted to discuss. And again, there was no presentations here because this is more a dialogue first I wanted to establish and pass the message. We'll have other interesting presentations later on with the statistics, where we're going to go some numbers, some interesting things, so you will understand about all of this more, with some proofs and some factual data behind. But this is today is just, basically wanted to get you my personal feedback or opinions on this whole situation right now, what's going on the market. And I didn't explain you everything, obviously, just touched a little bit, but I think you got some kind of understanding where I'm coming from. So guys, please ask me any questions or give any feedback, whatever you would like. It's an open forum today. Don't be shy to ask anything. I'm gonna share because we're talking to a lot of people around the world. We're supporting over 400 clients around the world. We're seeing many departments, quality departments, and we're conducting many assessments and QA audit and process improvements exercises. And we do a lot of transformations from waterfall to agile, from agile to DevOps. So, I mean, we see things, we see a lot of things. We see not like how they written in the book or in the article. We see in reality how things really works as opposed to how they should work. We see the real situations out there. So any questions, guys?
Ruslan, I have one question.
Sure, please.
You said that market is looking for the scriptless. My question is that so like scripting will over, or you can guide like what are the like scriptless code if market is going to use. So what are the tools that we need to prepare accordingly, if you can tell? Or and again, one more question with the penetration testing. So is there any tools that we need to prepare? So that will be helpful if you can answer both of the questions.
So second question is, are there any tools for what? For which area you said? For the
Penetration testing.
Oh, penetration testing. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me answer your first question. So there are a number of tools on the market right now which knocking or claiming to be completely scriptless and completely codeless, right? I don't want to be biased in this because we acquired a company one step ahead last year, and that company was in robotic process automation space, and they was using the tool called UiPath. UiPath right now, it's a very well-known tool, which their company went public. They start trading on the market, stock market. They're doing pretty well. A lot of investments is going into this, company, and they're building a fantastic platform with a lot of products. Now, UiPath, which I was introduced to when we acquired that company, and I spent a lot of time with my guys on this tool, analyzing and doing a lot of interesting projects and proof of concepts. And we did basically competition where for the same project, I put guys on Selenium Java and I put guys on UiPath tool to see who are faster, quicker in completing the same manual test case conversion into the automation scripts. And guess what? Yes, UiPath won much quicker, faster by 40%, outbid the Selenium Java because of the easier of use tool. So right now, as I see on the market, the popularity of the tools in the scriptless automation space, I would vouch for UiPath tool. Now, UiPath is not open source tool. It's not a free tool. It costs money. But that's what, again, people don't understand. Yes, it's an investment, but the ROI, return on investment, is magnificent. If you calculate, using Selenium Java, no cost at all, and UiPath tool, the speed of implementation for the scripts, the speed and the ease of usage and the maintainability, you will still have higher ROI even though you spend money on buying licenses for this tool, right? So again, this is no biasness here. This is what I see based on, there is also Blue Prism. There is multiple tools. There is Testing Wiz, the company in India who, doing this product for many years, and I'm familiar with that company. Also a great product. But out of all, what I see on the market, what I see the demand from our customers and clients, the UiPath tool is leading the race right now. So if I was you and I would go to the scriptless automation, I would pick that tool over other tool. Now, whether I pick UiPath scriptless automation versus traditional automation, which is using the coding such as Selenium Java, you have to decide yourself. I cannot influence those decisions. The market still want to see on your resumes Selenium Java, Selenium Java, Selenium Java, WebDrive, Selenium Java, those types of skills. Whether the market will change in the future, I think so. I think so. Because companies would want more people implementing and using automation, but only if it's easy to use, people will use it. If it's hard to use, people will try to use it, but fail because it's difficult. They're not developers. The coding will be still a bottleneck for them. Right? You understand? So in my opinion, we're going to see more demands in the future, not now exactly, but in the future on those scriptless robotics process automation tools. It's going to lead the world in the future. How soon? It's hard for me to predict, but we're going to see that. And whoever was part of this conversation, you will recognize this 5 years down the road. Oh yeah, Ruslan basically said that, you know, it's going to come in, and you will see 5 years from now, it's going to be there, you know. So to answer your other question on the security penetration testing front, we're going to have a similar session to this, where I'm going to explain you interesting things about security testing. So I'll hold this for that meeting, where I'm going to show you some interesting tools, open source tools, which you can leverage immediately for the penetration testing, as well as top of the line enterprise level tools, which is used for the government only, which is that powerful as well. But you know, you always should start with the open source tools to learn, to gain knowledge and gain the understanding, and then you can, you know, learn this, enterprise level tools as well. But penetration testing, as a tester, as a quality assurance professionals, because you're dealing with the application, you should understand the security implications. Even when you do manual functional testing, you can add your security testing coverage on top of that as well. And we'll talk separately. I don't want to hijack this meeting for the security specific questions, because we're going to have a separate topic. I'm going to invite my security experts, former people, you know, in the hacking industry, to share some interesting stories and knowledge with you guys as well in the future. Okay.
Sure. Thanks for the information.
Absolutely. So any other questions, guys, please shoot, feel free. Again, it's your time. I mean, it's evening time. Whatever you want to learn, I can answer based on my knowledge, based on my personal honest opinion and feedback. You know, I'm not prejudiced to anything or biased to one versus another. I'll tell you based on the real thing, based on what I think, you know. No hidden agendas here, you know.
Hi there.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I'm a manual tester myself, and I'm running a startup. I'm trying to set up a testing service team. And so what would be the best tool to start with? So I was a bit confused. There are so many tools out there in the market. And one of the tools which I heard, testproject.io, which was built on Selenium APM. What should take on that testproject.io? Is there any demand for the tool?
Test project is a pretty good. I heard good things about it, but again, it's like different cars, right, out there. Which car to buy? Obviously, it's based on your budget, right? You want to buy cool cars or economic cars like Tesla, you know, you don't need to spend on the gas, or you want to buy a fast car like Lamborghini, very expensive, or luxurious car like Bentley, you know, or a simple car which will bring you from point A to point B, you know. So it's the same thing. So it's very hard for me to answer the question, but this is how you need to put the strategy together. If I was you, number one, I would assess my current team and try to understand, who do I have from my existing team? Do I have anybody who understands object-oriented programming? Not like, oh, I went to school and college and I did, you know, Java, C++ course. Well, that's good. That's better than nothing. So that's, you know, I would say, yes, those people, you know, might figure things out. But if I have anybody who has never done any trainings in object-oriented programming, then I would say it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be very tough. You might try, but you will fail on the automation, because I don't know if you was part of the initial conversation early on. I said what I see on the market. I don't want to repeat myself. We're going to send this recording so you can listen. But, you know, if I was you, I would first figure out whether I have a technical guys on my team who are object-oriented, who has this background in object-oriented programming, okay? And if yes, then regardless of the tool and the language behind, they would be able to pick this up. Now, whether the project IO is good versus, you know, the others, it's kind of, it's a little simpler than the plain vanilla, you know, Java Selenium, for example, right? They kind of wrap around it. And I heard good positive things about it. Did I personally use it? No. Did we use it in our company? No, we didn't have any demand for this. No clients requested this. So we I personally did not have experience. I just can, relate this based on the feedback I heard from others. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions, guys? Could be automation related or non-automation related. I mean, anything which you would like, or something bothering you, like, and you want to know what's happening, or my opinion, or our opinion as a QA mentor, global software testing company, on certain things or certain areas or certain technologies. Again, I mean, when you look at the automation, it's like a car. Always I relate this analogy. And the goal is to get from point A to point B. You can have cheap car and you can achieve your mission. You can have expensive car and achieve your mission. You can have a Tesla. You don't need to drive. You sit down and relax and the car will drive for you. Now, Tesla, in my opinion, is your scriptless automation tools. That's where you don't need coding. You don't need to hold the wheel. That's my analogy for the scriptless automation tool. That's your Tesla, basically. Okay. But if you still want, stick shift and drive, that's coding. You need to understand coding. You need to be involved in this. It's not simple as sitting and the car will drive you versus, driving and paying attention and be concentrated and shift the gears and do all the other things, right? Anything, guys? So should we do more of those sessions? I mean, was it useful?
Absolutely, Ruslan. It was definitely an eye-opener for somebody who wants to get into test automation role. I think you gave an excellent perspective. Okay, just to I've just made some of the notes here. I think the first and foremost thing is that from my takeaways is that somebody wants to get into the automation role. He needs to be a good developer, or need to have a good programming language. At the same time, he need to have a good testing background. What are the good testing test design skills, and the test framework knowledge is very important, because nowadays I am seeing a trend wherein like you also mentioned, that 1 in 9 out of 10 people, they are just applying for automation role just by learning Selenium and Java. Right? They don't have any expertise on what is testing and what is a test case, and that is where I think the focus has to be, if you ask my perspective, right?
Correct. Absolutely. You're absolutely correct in this. So we definitely gonna have more sessions. I'm gonna coach you and I'm gonna explain you guys, if you're looking for some trainings, or because we have the trainings as well as part of the QA mentor services, and I, under no circumstances, I want to sell you our trainings or anything. This is not the reason why we're here. I wanted to explain you that what you if you want to invest money, and we didn't get to that topic today, but if you want to invest in training and upgrade your skills, upgrade yourselves, I want to explain you what do you need to look from those training institutions which you will go, not to waste your money, because I see a lot of people wasting money. I feel so bad for them. They spend money, they never come back and say, Ruslan, oh, we made a mistake. We wasted so much money and time, and we learned nothing out of this. We just got the certificate, which is useless as a paper, and nothing else, right, out of this. So I see the problem. So what we do, and when we have our trainings, and our trainings are 4.5 months long, that's the longest training out of all the providers of the trainings. I want to explain you later on, what is this training includes and completes. But the idea is, trainings is not our business line. We make money through other areas. Training is for you guys to learn the proper way automation. So then you can really be applying to Google, eBay, Microsoft, because you can get to that level only if you know certain things, not just the coding itself. You have to understand the strategy. The methodology, the process, what needs to be automated today versus tomorrow, how to keep up with the agile automation when you have so many activities going on, when you have so many frequent changes, how to keep up with the maintenance of your scripts. I mean, there is like so much out there which you need to know, which is not just coding. If I know how to, you know, write a script, that means it's not fully automation. You know, this is not just the automation, right? Same goes as a performance testing or engineering. Well, I know how to create JMeter script. I mean, it's nothing. It's not you're not the performance engineer, performance tester. No, it's just a script. But do you know how to build a proper workload model? How to distribute the workload, you know, accordingly to the most commonly used and frequently used scenarios? How to study the logs and Google Analytics to understand the peaks, you know, of your user level and concurrency of the user level, how to study and understand and extract that information. I mean, I'm just throwing just a little things here, but that's much more strategic. In everything which you do, there's much more strategic thing versus the technical thing, right? If you're missing strategy, it's like in soccer. I mean, you might have superstars, but they're not gonna win the game, right? You gotta have a strategy to anything you do, whether it's a manual testing, automation testing, performance testing, security testing. If you don't have this proper defined strategy, which will make you win and succeed, it's useless, it's waste. You understand? Okay, guys, anything else? Last minute, we already went 8 minutes after this. We're gonna share this meeting presentation recording so you guys can listen, you can share with your friends. But the goal is here really to share this, you know, some kind of information which I think it's important for you, so you will not make mistakes, so you will understand a little bit what's going on, because you don't see this. You know, you work in your organizations. We have a little more visibility because we talk to so many different types of organizations, types of companies. We're seeing a lot, right? And that's the best experience, right? You see based on the mistakes which some other organizations implementing or continuously implementing or now fixing it. We're seeing this all, or we fixing certain things for them, or we instructing them on how to change the strategy and immediately get the benefits or ROI out of this, right? That's the idea. It's like a doctor, right? The diet might not work for one person, but might work for another person. You need another diet for another person, right? So it's like every company, every organization, every software development life cycle and the way they run things is different. It's unique. It's got to be, you know, fully understand them. You need to understand everything behind before providing the proper recommendation. Thank you, guys. All right. Somebody said from Lakendra, right? I have different skills. Let me just get that message. How do I see? Okay, chat, right? One second. Let me just take a look at the chat, what's going on there. So, okay, I have different skill experience like database testing, performance testing, security, API testing. If I want to learn more anything else, then what should be more good for me as per fantastic of basic of current skills, Selenium automation or any others? Or should I learn more advanced in existing skills? It's great. I mean, you mentioned that you know a lot of those areas, right? And those are critical areas, and they're different, unique areas as well. So it's great that you possess those skills. The only thing is, I don't know how good you are in every skill, right? What do you think yourself, right? That's the first thing. Do you feel good and comfortable that you achieve a higher level of maturity in all of those two areas, like database testing or performance testing or security testing, or you just know the basic of it, which is also great, but you're not at an advanced level, right? So do you want to get to the advanced level? Right nowadays, again, my recommendation is you got to be good at the basic things. You would not believe, I interviewed people and I giving them a scenario so they can build the test cases from that. Some people with 10 years of experience cannot build the test cases. Can you believe this? So why do we need to learn anything more advanced than just the basic things of building the proper test cases first? So you got to understand the basics first and do it very well. Without those basics, no point of doing automation, performance, security. I mean, you got to know the basic. That's why many people say, oh, can we do just automation? I have no clue about QA. I just want to learn automation and find a job. No, you're gonna fail. It's not gonna work for you. You gotta understand the basics of testing. Then you can go into the next level. It's like you're going from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3, right? That's what you need to do. You don't over jump things. It's a sequence. You gotta be on the right path, right, to do things. But it's all the great questions. I'm gonna talk in the other sessions, you know, some of the interesting things in the machine learning, artificial intelligence space. You need to be prepared for those areas. You need to know how to test in those areas, right? This is completely new right now. There's not too many experts in those areas. You know, you got to prep yourself to do things in those areas, because that's the future, okay? That's the future. So lots of things around it, right? But, you know, today we just touched a little bit on the automation front. Guys, any other questions? So was it useful, guys? We didn't waste time. I hope you didn't waste your evening, you know, with this discussion, and you learn and you gain something out of this. So good luck to all of you. Again, thanks for all your support and, you know, sending emails, comments, questions. We're going to keep talking. Hopefully this audience will grow more, because I want to pass more information, more experience, because I see a lot of people doing things incorrectly. And, you know, I just want to make sure that people will add value and will improve quality across the board. And you guys get better and stronger and get to the next level in your maturity. Because whoever on this call, I fully respect you guys, because instead of, you know, going to the bar or being on Facebook or doing some kind of crazy stuff, you know, you came here to learn something. And that shows me that, you know, you care about your profession, you care about your career, you care about things. It's very important, right? And whoever, you know, wanted to come and didn't come, well, you know, it's also their choices. I can't blame them for that, right? People are tired after work, they have some other obligations. But if you want to learn something, you know, it's important. Those meetings are important. Those forums are important. Maybe you learn something more than you would learn 2 years working in some other organizations today, right? Or next meeting or next session, which we will have, right? This is all based on experience. I mean, all of this, what we're sharing, it's based on so many years of experience, based on personal mistakes, based on successes and failures. You know, all of this I'm trying to kind of share with you guys, so you will understand what the situation is. Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Ruslan.
All the best.
So much.
Yeah.
Stay safe and healthy. Okay. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
you too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
We'll talk soon. Take care.
Sure.